It's a brilliant look at how pure charm is weaponized to mask deception, both on our screens and in the everyday stories we tell. We're going to break down exactly how this character operates, the very real damage he causes behind the laugh track, and the surprising television tropes that brought him to life in the first place.
Absolutely, positively. Okay, I want you to imagine those words spoken with just unbridled, over-the-top glee. Because according to Martindale's text, this isn't just some fun little catchphrase. It's literally the scoundrel's primary weapon. He deploys this upbeat phrase like a shield the second anyone questions his sketchy behavior. By enthusiastically agreeing or making some massive, bold promise, he completely catches people off guard. It's a high-energy tactic specifically designed to disarm you. He uses this boundless, fake enthusiasm to immediately get his way, sidestepping any suspicion with a giant, charismatic smile. And the crazy thing is, it works. It weaponizes our own intrinsic desire for things to just be okay. When someone is that confident, our brains naturally kind of want to believe them, allowing the lie to slip right past our defenses.
Section 1. Anatomy of a Scoundrel, the Charmer, and the Cheats.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the intense cognitive dissonance built right into the core of this character. On the surface, he's presented as a true ladies' man. He projects this powerful aura of underlying goodness, a literal heart of gold that makes us desperately want to trust him and root for him. He sells a beautiful dream. But peel back that shiny veneer, and the reality is completely different. Underneath all that swagger, he's just a desperate con man. Despite those good intentions he loudly advertises, Martindale's poem explicitly points out that time and time again, he brings nothing but misery. It's the ultimate paradox of the lovable rogue. We're so drawn to the illusion of his golden heart that we completely ignore the blazing trail of disaster he inevitably leaves in his wake.
Moving on to Section 2, the catchphrase of deceit. Tactics of a Scallywag.
Martindale's poem actually gives us this rapid-fire, step-by-step checklist of his evasion methods. When he's backed into a corner, he doesn't just casually lie. He puts on a masterclass performance. First, he flirts and flatters to soften up his targets, manipulating their egos so they drop their guard. Then he brags, painting these grand illusions of what he can do for them. But here is the critical pivot. When pressed to actually keep his word, he enthusiastically agrees, deliberately blurring the lines of truth just to escape that exact moment. He buys time with empty promises. And when those blurred lines finally snap into focus and the bill comes due, he resorts to scarpering off to hide. Perform, promise, vanish. That is his endless cycle. Now, it is remarkably easy to get caught up in the fun rhythm of a rogue's life when it's packaged as entertainment. But we really have to look at the darker consequences here. The poem pulls absolutely no punches. It explicitly states he left some ladies with regret and sad tears of disgust. This isn't just harmless sitcom hijinks where everything resets after the commercial break. Real people in these narratives get hurt. Trust is utterly destroyed. Those broken promises result in genuine trauma, leaving deep regret and outright disgust for the people who dared to believe his cheerful lies and invest in his manufactured reality. Which brings us to Section 3, Pop Culture's Line Charmers, from poetry to television. So Martindale actually revealed the surprisingly specific inspiration behind this poem. And get this, it's a recurring character in the classic TV series Baywatch. Yeah, Baywatch. This particular character found it physically impossible to tell the truth, constantly pleading with the lifeguards to bail him out of his own self-inflicted messes. He'd spin these ridiculous webs of deceit, and his primary weapon, that exact catchphrase, absolutely, positively. He used it like a crowbar to force his lies through, dragging the show's actual heroes right down into his deception. It's wild how a 90s action drama trope of a comedic nuisance provided the perfect character study for a poem decades later. And this brilliantly illustrates a broader concept from the author's commentary, the sitcom snowball effect. This Baywatch character didn't just lie in a vacuum, right? His real destructive power was convincing others to lie just to keep his own fragile facade intact. Martindale points out that decades of American comedy rely on this exact structure. One lie drops like a pebble and inevitably snowballs into an avalanche, forcing everyone around the scoundrel to compromise their own integrity just to keep the plot moving. The charmer essentially takes his community hostage, making them complicit simply because they care about him, or just want to avoid the awkwardness of the truth. Now, think about the scale of this. We aren't just talking about a few isolated episodes. We're talking about an audience of millions. The author warns us to deeply consider this. Millions of viewers have consumed these specific comedy structures over the decades. We sit on our couches, we laugh as the scoundrel blurs the truth, And over time, that constant repetition subtly normalizes the behavior. It frames lying not as a moral failing, but as a quirky, endearing trait. It makes us increasingly, and maybe dangerously, comfortable with the idea of a charismatic cheat, wiring our brains to forgive deception as long as it's delivered with a wink and a smile.
Section 4. Redemption and the Truth. Mending his ways.
Ultimately, the poem refuses to end in cynicism. The text celebrates this profound turning point where the scoundrel finally makes the hard choice to mend his ways. Taking a distinctly spiritual and moral turn, the poem offers praise to God for this transformation. The message here is definitive. Rather than relying on flirting, flattering, and endless running, the character chooses to be his absolute best in each thought, word, and deed. It's the realization that a life built on deception is just an exhausting trap, and only by knowing and embracing the truth can we truly set ourselves free and genuinely succeed.
So, we've seen how effectively charm masks deceit and how deeply ingrained the lovable con man is in our media. So I want to leave you with this to reflect on. Do pop culture scoundrels make us more forgiving of real-life lies? When we spend hours laughing at charmers blurring the truth on screen, does it quietly alter our moral compass in the real world? It's definitely something to seriously consider the next time someone flashes a winning smile and promises you something absolutely positively. Thanks for checking out this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.